watching. I'm Zoe, if you don't know me, and here I do a craft podcast where I talk about all sorts of, especially fiber arts that I get into, sewing, knitting. Particularly recently it's been knitting, so if that sounds of interest to you, stick around and I'll get into my finished objects. I've got one sewing finished object, a couple in the works, but I won't go into those. I'm filming a video about the making process of these 3 tops that I'm making sewing. I've also got 2 works in progress and a lot of acquisitions today. So I'll be sharing all of that with you. So let's get into it. The first thing I made today, or not today, the other week, was this gorgeous top here. It is called, I'll put its name on the screen. I think it's a dress pattern that I've made into a top here. So I'll go into detail in the sewing video, but it's really nice. It's very relaxed. I'll put a video up here so you can see me wearing it. Straight after I made it, 2 days later, I wore it to work and got a few compliments. I really like it. There is one thing, and I've French seamed all the inside, so it's really nice and pretty inside, if you can see that. So there's no fraying, no yeah, so it's all very nicely done. This fabric was a dress that my mum gave me that I didn't wear, I didn't like, and it was bigger because it was a hand-me-down from her, and so I cut it up and made something that I would actually wear. I tried to wear it a couple times and it just wasn't working. So now I've made something that I've already gotten a few wears out of, I'm really happy with. The only negative that I have about this is that even on the hanger you can see it, it kind of pulls up at the neck. So it tends to come quite high on my chest and go lower down in the back, which makes this a bit more cropped, which for work is not as ideal, but I just found that I had to keep pulling it down a bit. So I'm gonna make another one of these in a very different fabric, so I'll see what the effect is and we can compare the pair. But this was my first finished object. It was a fun process, lots of gathering, and I'm very glad I made it, and I will be making more. I've already got one that I'm making, and I've cut it all up already in a cotton fabric instead. So onto some knitting. I have first and biggest, and what I've been working on the most is my champagne cardigan. So I've now finished the body and finished up the ribbing as well. I think it's a Italian bind off, so it's nice and neat and sort of just folds over. I made a mistake at the start, which was quite frustrating. I forgot how to do it. I watched a video, and the video that I watched, I made a mistake, and either whether it wasn't clear or it was just me, but just at the start here you can see, can you see that? It's not as neat just from here to here, and I forgot to do one of the steps, and then I fixed it up over here, but I didn't know how to undo it. So if you've got a video that you could recommend that goes into detail about how to undo several Italian bind off stitches without like cutting it apart, let me know. But there, yeah, so it's just not quite as perfect in that corner. It's not the end of the world. I don't think anyone will notice, but I would have liked it a bit neater there. So yeah, I'm onto one of the sleeves. It's been a really good process. The pattern is pretty clear. There was one thing that I did a little bit different just at the moment. Before these stitches fall off the needles, I'll pull it back. On the decreases under the arm, she gets you to knit 2 together through the back loop when coming around. So you do knit 2 together, then you go all the way around the row back to here, and then you knit 2 together through the back loop. And maybe I'm doing it wrong, so let me know if I am, but I was getting these like, I don't know, can you see that? It's not that neat here or here. So I've decided to change it up a bit, and I've neatened it up here for that decrease, and I've done a slip knit, which I think looks more flush, less noticeable, and it's more similar to the knit 2 together. So that's the only thing that I've changed on the decreases for the sleeve. But I really am getting very excited about it now. I think I mentioned this in my last podcast. I love how neat these 3 stitches for the raglan are. And yeah, I'm also excited to finish with these 4.5 needles, because I've got a few projects that I need 3.5 needles for. And actually, as part of my acquisitions, I'll go into it as well, but I got some Xiaogu needles. So this is my new, like, it's very convenient actually. There's the needle stoppers, and you get different length cords that you can hold things on there. And yeah, I've got a project that I'm going to start with 5mm needles and 4.5mm needles. And you've got one long cord in the pack that I bought, and 2 quite short ones and 1 semi in the middle. So I'm going to put the one in the middle and the bigger one, one of the smaller ones, together and use that so that I can knit a jumper on both the 4.5 and 5mm, using the one long, I don't know if this is making sense, but using the one cord that has the longer length, and then the other one can use the 2 together. So that's the plan at this stage. I think I've also got 5mm, 80cm, 100cm needles, so I could just use those. But I'm kind of having fun with these. I should probably just use those, but anyway. This is the champagne cardigan, and yeah, I'm really excited to get to use it. I did make a mistake on the sleeve and forgot the decreases. Well, I didn't read the pattern, and now I've ripped out a bit, so this I'm still going to fix together. But I'm planning to hopefully finish this in the next 2 weeks is the plan. That would be great. So that's my major work that I'm on at the moment, because I really want to wear it and want to get onto my next sweater project, which I've got a swatch for from the new yarn that I bought. Second work in progress that I'll show you is going to look a little bit crazy at the moment because it's inside out, but I'm up to weaving in all the ends for my, the socks are called, I'll put the name on the screen. But I finished one sock. I haven't started the next one yet. I'll pull it inside out so you can see the full effect. I've got, there was 5 skeins of 20-gram sock yarn, just the small skeins, and it looks really long and thin because it's a 2x1 rib pattern. So I was getting a bit nervous because this is quite a long ankle, and I have very thick calves, so I was a bit stressed about whether these would actually fit on my calf. I tried it on, and in the end it did work. Otherwise I was thinking about pulling it back to here and then doing some rib up there and Kitchener stitching it together, but it does fit, so I don't think I have to make that adjustment, and it just looks it looks so tiny. I've got to block it. I think it'll look much better once blocked, but off the foot it looks tiny, but it does fit. And then the bad thing about this pattern and doing this is all of the terrible ends to weave in. So that is going to be a little bit of a nightmare, which is why I finished it. And for 2 weeks I don't think I've touched it because I have to weave in all the ends and then start the new sock. But yes, there's, I don't know, 30, 40 ends here. It's just going to take a good, it just feels like it takes forever. So that is my second work in progress. I won't go into too much more detail now, but I'll get onto acquisitions because I did end up buying a lot recently. I wasn't going to be buying much yarn. I think I mentioned that in my first podcast, but I've been so into knitting recently that I'm actually getting through things quite well. And so there's a few things that I did pick up for 4 projects. They've got plans. I'll share with you the plans now, so I know exactly what I'm going to be doing with them. And yeah, okay, I'll just take a sip of coffee first and then alrighty. I'll show you the first one that I'm going to put to start. I have 3 skeins of yarn. They are all DK weight, or roughly DK weight, and this is the colour palette. There we go. I've just got a nice somewhat heathered grey. It's pretty standard grey, but it's a little bit of heathering to it. Then I've got this gorgeous, I don't know, sagey green. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's a sage green colour. And the thing that I was going to go for a very different colour palette. Oh, I'll tell you what pattern I want to use. It's the Shift Cow by Andrea Mowry. And I was wanting to do pastels. I saw Emily from, I think that's her name, I'll share her podcast. She's fantastic. Anyway, she did this great colourful, it was green and pink and white, and it was really nice. And so I kind of wanted to go for pastel-y, but when I saw this in the store, I went to a new store in Brunswick area. Yeah, Brunswick in Melbourne, Victoria, that's where I'm from. And what was the store name? It was fantastic. The ladies there were super friendly, super helpful, and they wound up these skeins for me because I knew I wanted to use these first. So it was at the end of the day, and they were like, we only have time to do a little bit of the skeins, but because they're just about to close the store, but they put these up for me, and it was $1 per skein to get them wound, which saves a good couple hours of winding for these ones so that I can get started straight away. Anyway, there's this beautiful colorway that just got me in the skein. There's some greens, some kind of olivey, greeny yellows, some orange, burnt orange, some grey, some sort of bluey grey, and maybe you can see there a little bit better. I just fell in love with this colorway, and I had to build the rest of the cowl around it, and I ended up going for, I picked the green and this one first together, and then I was kind of thinking about what else. There's a bit of a purpley hue to some of these, and I was almost like, oh, maybe I should go purple and find a purple skein that will mix in well, but I ended up going with the neutral because the reason why I want to make this cowl and make it soon is I work in one of my workplaces. I work on an engineering site, and it's very cold in the warehouse, in the production, on the shop floor. So I want something. A lot of the guys have these chunky cowls around their necks, not nice hand knitted ones, but just chunky cowls, to keep them warm because it gets really cold in Ballarat. So you know, we might be working out there in 0 degrees, 1 degrees, and so I would like a nice fun knitted cowl for when I'm on the shop floor to keep me extra warm, and just have a bit of fun, I guess. So I wanted to keep it a bit more neutral, and that's why I ended up deciding on the grey to ground it, just because I'll be wearing it with a high-vis vest or jacket, and B, because then I can wear it with more things. It was the idea. It will match more different types of clothing for work. So very excited to get started on this. So that will be probably this week or next week. I'll get started on that. Another one, maybe I'll start with a sweater. The next one that I'm going to be knitting up very shortly, I've already made a swatch for this. It is this here, wild wool. And these ones I don't have, the information is on the inside. They're just 8 ply, oh my goodness, DK weight. Yeah, so I don't have too much more information on that. They're regular skeins, so they're probably, they're either fully wool or the regular, 80% wool, 20% polyamide, for like sock knitting sort of stuff. But But the next one I got was these two to match together to make a colorwork project. So I've just got one of these, and I always like to see how much there is all together. And often people just show one skein, but this is how much I got in the end. I've already balled up a ball and made a swatch. So these are the colors for the Vilkelana Nordstrand pattern. It's a free pattern, which I think is really cool. And this is going to be my contrast color. And I kind of like the low contrast. They're really, really pretty skeins. They're 85% wool and 15% viscose from nettle. So I think they'll have a really nice drape to it. But also they're quite warm and cozy. I'd call them Aran weight. They're 18 stitches and 26 rows. The pattern that I am knitting, the Nordstrand pattern, needs a 17 stitch gauge and 23 rows on 4.5mm needles. This one needs 5mm needles, so I've knitted up my swatch on the 5mm needles, and I haven't blocked it yet. I'll do that tonight. But this is what the fabric is looking like. Very much curling at the moment. I think it'll soften up, but it's quite a more rustic feel. But I think it'll just be beautiful, this low contrast with the purple. Originally there was a green that I looked online on the store and really liked, but in person these purple and this light pinky purple, it just, you know, when you see it in person, it just takes your heart a little bit more and makes you feel something. That's these two. So I'm very happy and very excited to be making this. Again, I'll probably start this one this week potentially. As soon as this dries and I get my gauge and all that, I'd like to put this on my needles, 5mm needles. Another one from this yarn store, I got 4 skeins of this gorgeous silk. It's this cyan, turquoisey blue color. Probably cyan's the best way to describe it. It's, I'll put a photo of what it looks like, but it's called Jaipur silk. It's 100% pure mulberry silk, and there is 300 meters in 50 grams. And I got 4 of them because I'm going to make a cumulus blouse by Petite Net. So is it the cumulus blouse? Cumulus tee. And it's just gorgeous. I went at the start of the year to a wedding in Jaipur, which is in India, and yeah, so I was already, when I saw it was Jaipur silk, I'm like, yeah, you have me. I just got to choose my color, and I went with this gorgeous blue because yeah, I think it'll come out really nicely. Hopefully I can meet gauge with it. It is a very light fingering weight yarn, but yes, I will get started on this closer to the summer months, because in Melbourne, Australia, we are in winter, dead of winter at the moment. So I'm seeing everyone make all these videos about, you know, my summer knits and summer inspiration. I'm kind of tempted to do one of for myself, so to prepare for the next season, just because I'm seeing so much content and I'm getting excited about it, but I'm in winter. That was the second to last. The last one, I got this Fluff and Nonsense sock yarn. It's 75%, sorry, 75% superwash, blue-faced Leicester, and 25% nylon. There's 425 meters and 100 gram. Its colorway is called Fallen Leaves Mocha, and the dye lot is A. So it's just such a beautiful slight variation to the browns. I really love brown, the color, and I think it looks quite nice on me. So I think for this one, I made a dinosaur hat. And the more I think about it, I kind of want my own dinosaur hat, because I made it for a friend who's 5, but I love dinosaurs too. So I kind of think I want to make that for myself again, and then whatever's left over I can make some little shorty lace socks. I think would be really pretty in this. But the colorway just got me, and I just had to pick up one skein. Kind of wish I had bought 2 now, so I could have made a top. I'm wanting to make the pie camisole, but this is, yeah, it's a gorgeous color. It's quite rich, but has a little bit of a I don't know, that variation, I really like it. So I don't know when I'll use this one yet, but those are my plans for that. Not at this yarn store, but I ordered from another yarn store in Victoria called Sunspun for some knitting for Olive Merino to make what I've been talking about for a little while, is the Helia sweater. That's the pattern that I've decided on for this amazing yarn that it's, I can't remember, you might have to go to my other video for the details. It's this lace weight, gorgeous yarn that I got in Venice, and it has the orange, blues, greens, and I wanted to just make it a bit more subtle by combining this white with it, or it's cream, color cream, and this is also something I'm gonna put on the needles as soon as I get my champagne cardigan off and those 4.5mm needles. This is going on. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous, and I can't wait to make it, and I think the pattern will work so perfectly for it, because you'll get the combination just in stocking net stitch for the body, but then the sleeves will be all patterned. And also what I'm wearing is the Sunday sweater by Petite Net. I think I'd like to make another one of these. But yes, those are my acquisitions for the day. I think I want to close out with just maybe a minute or two talking about the things that I've been listening to or watching that's been keeping me busy while I've been knitting. So the first thing is I read a book, it was fantastic, or listened to an audiobook called Persian Fire. It was a Persian history book about sort of the ancient battles and the ancient kings of Persia. And it was really good, and I learnt something fun. So here's a little bit of a fun fact. The reason why a marathon is called a marathon is because the Persians came to take back Athens and have basically Greece under its thumb again. And they came to Athens, and there was a runner that went off and got more men to fight, and then they met the Persians on the battlefield, and they crossed the plains of Marathon and defeated the Persians. They were supposed to lose. There was a much bigger Persian force, and they had a really strong, they did the phalanx, and no one broke the phalanx, so it was very strong, and they destroyed the Persians. And then they realized that they'd won, but their families and land was unprotected, so they ran back across the plains of Marathon to protect their home in Athens. So I thought that was it was a really fun, interesting fact. I've just gotten into running as well, so I don't know, it's fun. It was fun to me. I liked that fact. And then this is not the part of the battle though where there's the 300 Spartans that defeated, or that were killed a lot of Persians. The Persians end up winning under Xerxes' rule, but yeah, so that's the next one. After they had this defeat, Xerxes came back because of this defeat, and that's when the story of the 300 Spartan warriors was. It was a really good book, very entertaining. I like my non-fiction books. Something else is I've been watching a lot of knitting podcasts, and just yesterday I found this new knitting podcast to me. I think she's very popular, but I just found her. Her name is, let me just check, the 100 Acre Wool. 100 Acre Wool. She is fantastic. The things she makes are so beautiful. She's such a soft person. The things she makes are really soft and subdued, but have this richness to them, and it's very beautiful. So I really liked her podcasts, and also very excited this month to just keep knitting and watching the Olympics. Some of my favorite events are swimming, because I love swimming, diving, because it's just fun, and a surprising one that is just fantastic to watch is beach volleyball. That's really good. And just the other night I watched some badminton, which was fun because I've just gotten into badminton. So yeah, I like my sports as well, and it's fun to watch and just sit down, cozy up and watch the Olympics while sitting on a couch knitting and probably having some cake. But yes, thanks for joining me today. If you've got any knitting plans or you're inspired by anything that I've done or have something that you think I might like, please comment below. I'd love to hear about it. And thanks for spending your whatever time of day it is with me. I hope you got some progress done on your knitting or just enjoyed a little knitty chat. Yes, have a great day and I will see you again soon. So I thought I'd take you with me and make some baklava because it's a lot simpler than most people think, I reckon. And I'm using a recipe from my favorite cookbook, Persiana. And so it's Persian baklava that we're making today. So that's almonds and pistachios. And I'm not going to give away any of the amounts for the ingredients, but I'll tell you what's in it and then, yeah, I'll show you the process. So I'll show you, yeah. We've got almond meal, pistachios, sugar, of course, some cinnamon, cardamom seeds, and usually it's some orange and lemon, but since I don't, orange and lime, since I don't have lime, oranges, and some lemon that goes in the syrup. So I'm gonna get started and take you along with me as we make baklava. of butter and phyllo pastry sheets. So I'll show you that bit next. baklava now that the syrup's all on there, so here we go. It's just a little bit of blitzed up pistachio. I think it just gives the end a little bit of something. One missing. Here we go. Yum!